you actually look at an example they gave you, when you read Beowulf, you read a very modern translation of it, whether or not you want to admit that. The actual Old English, I can't even read it. They give you a little example here in blue where it's italicized. You guys see that? In parentheses it says, then out of the marsh, under mist-covered cliffs, Grendel stalked, bearing God's wrath. Above it is what it actually looked like in Old English. It's completely, I can't even read that. It's very different. So we know that Old English is really where it started. You said around 400s. I mean, it's accurate enough. Yes, it's pretty old. Corey, what is Middle English?
Middle English is more towards our modern language that we use today. It was fueled and fed by French dialects more than Germanic dialect was in the old days.
Okay, so you're hitting on not only have you answered my question, but you're also hitting on the differences there. Middle English is more infused with French and Latin.
Yeah, French and Latin.
Whereas the Old English is largely Germanic. So there are different language influences coming in. And there's one big detail too on the kind of words that we got from Old English. Jensen, what did it say that we got from Old English? So we, most of, you're saying there's very few of the words from that language we still use? That's true, but I mean, what's so important about those words? You want me to pass? I know Ashley wanted to. Sure. Is your voice okay? You sick, or because if your voice is not okay, I need to know that. So. Okay, Ashley?
We use those words every day.
Every day. So a lot of the common or basic words that we use in language, often we've taken from Old English. That's definitely true. It did say that. So there's a big difference in that. That Old English kind of is our base, is our foundation, and Middle English has kind of branched out and given us all the additional words that we use. Another difference which Corey mentioned, we're talking about Old Germanic versus Middle English, which started to put in Latin, French. Just out of curiosity, can you think of a big field, in which most of the vocabulary is heavily based in Latin? All the terminology that they use, that they come up for things. Religion? I'll take that. I was thinking another one, but that definitely works. There is a lot of Latin-based stuff in religion. But I'm thinking of a professional field today that almost all the terms that they come up with for things have some sort of Latin basis.
Scientific terms?
Scientific terms. Yeah, I mean, when we think of scientific terms, I was also thinking of medicine too. It's really kind of all the same thing. So in the medical field and in the scientific world, everything has some sort of Latin name. So there's still a big emphasis on that. Even though nobody really speaks Latin anymore, at least not. It's a dead language, they say.
That's how they use it for the term.
Because it's not changing.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I mean, since it's dead, actually, it's a great point that you mentioned that. I wasn't going to. I want to now. Since Latin is in fact a dead language, at this point it's not changing anymore. So it makes sense to use that language because everything's fixed. It's set in stone. You don't have to worry about the terminology changing on you in 15 or 20 years. Yeah, that's a pretty good point there. Okay, one last thing I wanted to do here in explaining Middle English and Old English in terms of these two pages. Middle English, if you look at it over here on page 99 in blue italics, you can kind of read it. I mean, it is not very much like our language right now, but it's at a point where it can almost be read. I actually had to memorize this at one point in college, and I'm sure I butchered it when I read it, but I can try to read you the first 4 lines of this just so you can try to maybe hear how this sounds. So I'm reading the blue part here in 99. Wanda Akla with his showers sute, the Dante of Marche have traced to the root rute, and they every vein and were switched the core, of which thereto engendered is before. I read it fast because I had to memorize it at one point, but I know it's really very different, and pronunciation-wise I'm not very good with it, but you can see how it's, some of the words in there, like march, hath would be has, pierced, pierced, rute is root, so you can see how the words come in. Also during this time period, when you had E at the end of a word, I know that Chaucer, well, I haven't talked about it yet, but I know during that time period, they always stress that E. So if you had root with an E at the end of it, it'd be rute, or, pierced, things like that. Alright. Now, where this is all going, we're kind of done with King Arthur here almost, but I have one presentation I need to finish up actually, before I really get too much into this. So, I know that group is Stephen and, who else? Stephen, Ronald, and, okay, Jeff? You guys are ready to go? I'd like to get this one last King Arthur presentation out of the way, and then we can officially go into our next material.
Do we need a paper for this one
Yeah,
too?
no, we took notes, so we need to take notes on this and a separate piece of paper.
What happened was I did collect them, so don't worry about it for this one story. I'll cut you a break on that, because I don't want to go and pass all the notes back out just for one presentation, so a little bit of reprieve there. Yes, question?
What were the definitions we had to write down?
Definition of,
To the daily report.
oh, well, the terms were frame story and satire. We're going to define those later. Yes?
Can we take our books back to the
What are you
library?
saying, Nate?
I talked about that idea. I would like to do that a different day. We may do that Friday.
Calendar.
Can we do that on our own?
No, I'd rather have us all, hey guys, listen up. About the King Arthur books, I'd rather have us all pick a time where we all, cooperatively go and do that. I don't want to do that today though, so hold on to them. I may try Friday. I realize that we don't need them anymore and you're carrying them around, so.
What if they freeze it with water?
Okay, you guys, I have your rubric. So. Buried somewhere here. You guys can go ahead and get set up. You can, three of you can get up there. And your presentation should still be open on the